This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
shire.efoodsglobal.com.
Standing here with Dan Itse, who is the chair of the
Constitutional Review and Statutory Recodification
in the New Hampshire State House. And you're a well-known figure. I mean, there are reps that are better known and less known. You're one of the better known.
I guess you'd have to say so. I at least kick up more dust than most.
The first thing I'd like to talk to you about is what's going on with, you're most famous, of course, for state sovereignty resolution that came up in 2009. Got a giant rally outside the State House, a lot of attention, a lot of national news that you were on. Well, you're doing something similar again this year, but you've kind of run into a little bit of a roadblock where the thing's bouncing around between the House and the Senate.
Well, it passed the House quite substantially. And then went to the Senate, and the Senate is, I guess you say, the more timorous branch of the legislature, and they're a little bit afraid of this. It makes them uncomfortable, and so instead of passing it, they re-referred it to committee, which means it's being held till next session.
So what you've decided to do is just forget about the Senate and just pass a House resolution. Absolutely,
because part of the concluding section of the resolution is that
United States of America.
We believe in the Union. We want to be. We consider ourselves friendly to our sister states. So what we really need to do is be able to start communicating with the people in the other state legislatures who are responsible for considering nullification or whether or not federal laws are constitutional. And so if we have to just leave the Senate by the wayside because they don't have the stomach or the interest in going forward, then we'll just have to walk around them.
Other than that, what's the difference between this and what was going on in 2009?
Well, 2009 was really a cut and paste of Jefferson's Kentucky resolutions, the draft Kentucky resolutions, I should add, because they were substantially amended by the legislature. I updated them a little bit because we've added an anti-slavery article to the Constitution, and so that's another crime. So instead of 7 crimes, there's 8 crimes that the federal government actually has the power to prosecute. And but it was all Jeffersonian language, and unfortunately, all the language of felicity toward the other states was up in the beginning part of the resolution. And it talks in a manner that is not really consistent with the contemporary psychology, if you will. So I recrafted it, took a lot of the same ideas, but instead of wherefore, 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 therefore, it's wherefore, wherefore, therefore, wherefore, therefore, wherefore, therefore. So it's I guess you'd say it's more staccato. It's more adjusted to the shorter attention span and slightly simpler language of contemporary America.
Well, what's the next step, though? It seems like this time.
The last, instead of beginning with the idea of felicity toward the other states, it concludes with the idea of felicity towards the other states. So it can't be misrepresented as a secession bill,
right?
But as this is how we need to preserve the Union bill,
right? Well, what's the next step, though? I mean, last time at this stage, you had gotten a lot of publicity. This time, it doesn't seem like it's generating as much buzz.
It is not gaining any kind of buzz. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I kind of half perceived that keeping the issue going was necessary to continue the state sovereignty movement.
And it's going to be easy to pass it. That's not going to be the problem this time.
It passed in the House like on grease skids.
Yeah. What do you think we should do with it? I mean, after it's passed, what's the next step?
The next step is the clerk of the House transmits it to the relevant branches of the federal government, because it does include statements like executive orders are unconstitutional if they act upon the people directly, or upon the states directly, but to the relevant bodies of the federal government and to the other state legislatures, so that I will be able to identify my official compatriots in the other states.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's really the intent, so that as state legislatures, we can become more coordinated and talking with each other about, well, do you think this is unconstitutional? Yeah, I think it's unconstitutional, and become more collaborative.
Now, switching topics, I want to talk about my even more favorite subject, which is getting rid of laws. You've got some stuff going, trying to get rid of a lot of laws in New Hampshire. Tell me about that.
Delicious, inexpensive, storable with a 15-year shelf life in most cases. What is it? It is shire.efoodsglobal.com. Try a bite or order with all your might, straight from the site. You can even get free samples there. Or let Kurt and Auburn hand you some. shire.efoodsglobal.com.